Hey, what's up, crew? Welcome back to the channel. So I am pretty much doing this Q&A video. I have been talking about doing this Q&A video. A lot of y'all have been submitting questions down in the comment sections on different videos. So I kind of compiled some of the more common questions. I don't know how many. About 9 or 10 questions that I have on my phone. So I typed them out in my notes section. If y'all like this kind of video, go ahead and be sure to leave a like on this video, as well as any other comments or questions down in the comment section, because we can just as easily make a part 2 if this one does pretty good. So first, can we admire the lights though? Do you see? Look at this lighting. This is kind of representing my favorite time of the year. December is right around the corner, which means Christmas is right around the corner. So I had to rock the red and the green right here. Also, Superman. Come on now. I love Superman. Rocking my Superman socks. So, you know, it's so official. And I actually, on my arm, let me show y'all real quick. I have a Superman tattoo as well. Like, the love for Superman is so real. But before we continue, be sure, hit that subscribe button to join the crew. You know, we're moving on up. So let's just keep going. And let's just keep the video going. The first question, and I'm going to be reading. If you see me looking over here, it's because my monitor is over here. Let's see. So the first question on this list is, do I have my notes from AMP? Yes. I keep all of my notes from all of my classes, especially my science-related classes, because it's always good to refer back to those. With AMP 1, AMP 2, micro, those classes were really a lot of, there was a lot of memorization there. So a lot of times when we remember something, we may remember like it for a small period of time, and then we kind of mind dump to make room for more information. And obviously the important stuff, the core stuff of anatomy and physiology, you know, you're never going to forget. You know, you'll be able to kind of orient your way around the human body with, you know, as far as the bones or major muscles, organs, stuff like that. You'll be able to kind of orient, because that's kind of something that becomes second nature. But as far as those small things, like something that we're going over right now in our fundamentals class is the acid-base balance. And I remember going over this in AMP2, I believe, in respiratory, when we talked about the acid-base balance, the different buffer systems, so the carbonic acid and bicarbonate buffer system. That's all coming back up now. So that's actually what one of our exams is on Tuesday. But yeah, I keep all my notes because I refer to it. You know, it kind of helps me kind of, it's good to have a reference point for some things that I may not necessarily remember, and you know, you don't want to go on the internet. So my next question here is, let's see, this is kind of a two-part question, and I actually got this from a few people. Do you work? Yes, I work. I work full-time, actually. I've worked all through the entire my semester, this semester of school. I work a regular 9 to 5, or in my case, an 8 to 6. I did scale back a little bit. I went from 40 hours down to 30 hours, and I do work 3 of those full-time days, 3 30-hour days. I mean, 3 10-hour days. That equals a total of 30 hours. And the second part of the question, I just kind of lumped them together because a few people had these questions. How do you balance your time, or your, you know, your work life, school balance, you know, social? So I am a person who has to, I have to have like at least a week out planned. Now, when I say plan, I don't mean that every hour of my day is planned, but I know, for example, on these certain days, I can actually hang out with my friends, or I know on these days I have to study, and it's also depending on what I have coming up, when I can kind of scale back and chill a little, or jump on it and still, go hard. All right, so one of y'all asked me, this is going to kind of piggyback off the previous question. One of y'all asked me about how I balance my work life and if I use a planner. So I don't use like a traditional paper planner. My MacBook is definitely my where I do a lot of my scheduling. So I'm just going to go into this and pull up. I have this app that it's called Homework. It's an app that you can get on the Apple Store, and it pretty much, you put in everything that is due. So you put in all the due dates, the different reading assignments, any miscellaneous information regarding school, and you can put it in there, and it will kind of schedule it out for you, in a sense. Also within that, you can put your, like I said, miscellaneous things such as doctor's appointments, or if you're working, you have to put your work schedule. If you are doing something like very specific with a friend or something, you can put that into there as well. And literally, if you have your phone in your hand, which 98% of us, I'm sure we do, always have, my phone is always in my hand. If my phone's not in my hand, I have my watch. If my watch isn't in my hand, my iPad. If my iPad is, you get what I'm saying. So you have to find your way of organizing. It's very important to be organized to a in a sense in nursing school, because there is so much information that you're taking in. So much information that's coming in, and it's coming at you from the left, from right. And, each class is almost like taking 2 classes, for each class. So for example, because you have your classroom, your didactic, and then you have your lab time as well. And each class has a lab section, and each class has a classroom section. So, you have to be able to do assignments for both of those. Study, get ready for checkoffs, do clinicals, do care plans, do teaching plans. All of that. You have to be able to manage all of that and still stay sane and get sleep. So there's this meme that I saw that, talked about how how are you supposed to go to the gym, work, go to school, sleep, get 8 hours of sleep. Now, let me tell y'all something. I get 8 hours of sleep every night. It's very rare that I don't get 8 hours of sleep. If I don't get 8 hours, I'm a complete wreck. I know people, there are people who can go on, I don't know, a little bit of sleep, 3-4 hours of sleep. I'm not one of those people. I have to get my sleep, because my key to retention and my key to understanding and comprehending the information is kind of tied in with my sleep. I noticed that, and I noticed this a long time ago about myself, that when I would get, 4 or 5 hours of sleep, I'm not in my best mood. I'm not in my best mood. I'm also not at my best as far as performance wise, and those nights kind of get to you as well. Those late nights and early mornings, they will catch up to you, and that's why you start aging. Like, we're not gonna go there, but you get what I'm saying. I mean, you have to take care of yourself, first, and part of taking care of yourself is getting proper sleep and eating the right things, which, I know we all are on the go, but you got to take care of yourself because you only got one body, one person. What's the point of you going through all of this, going to nursing school, going to nurse practitioner school, whatever? What's the point of doing that if you are one foot in the grave, always in and out of the hospital because you're sick? So, so pretty much back to the question, I balance my time by just prioritizing. Obviously, school is priority, but also I have to prioritize things in level of importance. So if there's a week where there is, and I know I'm rambling on, but if there's a week where there is not an exam coming up, then I will still study, but my studying will kind of go down. It will definitely go down because then I can focus on keeping my sanity, watching some TV, talking on the phone, hanging with some friends. That's my my woosah moment. So you got to just make time for yourself, but you also have to find out what works for you, because I know people who function perfectly well off of, a few hours of sleep. The next question is, where do you plan on working when you graduate? I want to work in a hospital, and I think that kind of ties into the next question as well about what specialty do you want to work in. So, I would love to work obviously at a hospital. I don't really right now at this point, I don't want to do like a private practice. Now, I would go and work like at a public health department, local public health department, to kind of give back to the community and, take care of the underserved population because, who knows? And then as far as specialties, so I'm about to get comfortable. So I actually, I had this whole idea that I was going to go into emergency medicine and ER and trauma, and that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted to do. And, I still want to do that. That's still something that I am passionate about. But you know what? Since I've been doing clinical and actually getting some hands-on experience with the interacting with patients and dealing with just all of that, I've actually taken a look and kind of opened up my mind a little bit more to say that I am willing to, I'm willing to look into other specialties. I love children. I do. I love children, but I don't think I can actually see children in pain. And I know it's weird because it says, if you love children, you should be able. It's something about seeing children in pain. I love the elderly, but it's something about seeing them in pain that just gets me. And I know a lot of the population that, generally, if you are on just a regular unit, not the ER, but if you're on a inpatient unit, a lot of the patients are up in age, but a lot of that is because of maybe it's a med-surg unit and they're recovering from a surgery or it's a rehab facility. Those type of things I can deal with, but it's just my heartstrings, with me impede. So right now I am still in love with the emergency department, I would love to kind of get exposed to all of the different things. And I actually think really, really well under pressure. I work well under pressure. But on the same side, I'm not ruling out the possibility of me working in any other type of specialty. So we'll just see as I know I don't want to do OB. I'm a guy, which there's nothing wrong with it, but just me personally, that's not something, I know that's something I'm not passionate about. So, whatever. Somebody asks, what is clinicals like for a guy? It's cool. I mean, I think I answered this in the comment section. It's cool. I mean, I don't feel any different, than my female counterparts, my female co-workers or peers. I do think that as a male, you do have to, and I'm speaking about from personal experience, I feel like as a male, you do have to deal with a different stigma, because as a male, that's the cat. As a male, the nurse, the patients. I'm sorry. As a male, the patients, oftentimes, if they're women, have the ability to feel uncomfortable with a male nurse, especially considering that, we're doing these assessments, and we're asking these very, very personal questions that they may feel more comfortable sharing with a female nurse. So that we're dealing with that. So I spend a lot of time, I've noticed at clinicals, I spent a lot of time just getting the patient comfortable with me and letting them know, that I am a professional. I'm a professional healthcare provider, and or I'm a healthcare worker, and I'm just there to take care of them, regardless of your gender. I don't have any type of gender bias or anything. I don't have, I leave all of that elsewhere. I don't have that, and that's just not in me. And I do spend a lot of my time, like I said, just making them feel comfortable to know that I'm still going to provide the same level of care, as a female would. So it's kind of weird because you're used to hearing, in most professions, you're used to hearing that, the woman, females are more, prone to having to adjust, or having to kind of fit in, or having to overcome certain obstacles. But in nursing, it's definitely a female dominated profession, and being in the minority, not only to top it off, I'm an African American as well. Those things kind of go hand in hand. So yeah, I just do me. I do me. Yeah, whatever. Let's see. Okay, so this person asked about ADN versus BSN. So I've done a video about this. I did the video before I've actually had experience in the nursing kind of world through clinicals in school. So I'll link that up there. I'll put the card somewhere up there. But in general, I think that whatever route you can go for it. One route is not, I don't think one route is better than the other. It's just important to, make sure you are adequately skilled to take care of the patients. So just real quick, the ADN, with the ADN, you do have to, a lot of employers are requesting that the nurses come in with a BSN, or, you obtain it shortly after being hired. The good thing about the ADN is that you can work quicker. You'll be able to get to work, and then you can actually work and maybe go online and do a bridge program to the BSN, versus if you have the time and the money and there's not necessarily a rush and maybe you're fresh out of high school, I would go ahead and go for the BSN. That way you can just knock it all out at once, start working, and then should you want to progress to get a master's or a doctorate, you can do that. But it's really personal preference as far as time. And then the last question, it says, I got a lot of questions asking about study tips. And so I'm actually going to do I think this is the first of 2 videos that I'm going to film today. The second video is going to be about, it's going to be a study with me video. And I'll film that a little later when I'm actually studying in the other room. But what I want to say in regards to just a few study tips is find out your learning, the way how you learn. That really is important. And I used to scoff at that when they used to teach us that, way back in the day. How do you learn? We used to do these tests to ask us all these different questions about, do we prefer this over this or this over this? And the end result, you tally up the score and it'll tell you what type of learner you are. And you can also be a mix. You can be a mixed learner, but that's really important, is to find out what type of learner you are, because then after that you can tailor your study habits towards whichever way your study leans. So, for example, I am a auditory learner. That's primarily. I'm an auditory learner. But then I'm also, what do they call it? I'm a hands-on type of learner as well. So those things, so I can listen to for a podcast, and if I listen to it over and over again, the material is sticking, and I'm studying. So for my fundamentals class on my Davis Plus website, there is a podcast library that has chapter breakdowns of each chapter, and you can listen to it. I've downloaded it on my phone, and I listen to it all the time, over and over, at work, at home, in the shower, while I'm editing a video, right before I'm filming a video, after I'm filming a video, just all the time. I always do it. And I also have to do lots of NCLEX questions. I don't care what type of learner you are. NCLEX questions will help you, because most importantly, while the tests are maybe a little bit easier than the practice NCLEX questions, it's getting you ready for the NCLEX, as well as challenging you to change the way that you think. I always say this, that nursing school is not so much about the information. Yes, you have to understand the information. You have to understand these certain things within your scope of practice. But it also has another layer up under it, that is, you have to understand what is being asked of you. What are you supposed to be looking at? What are you supposed to be focusing in on? Yes, the patient has pain in the toe, but the patient also has, I don't know, a fever. It's about prioritizing care and focusing on, like I said, what is most important. What will not kill the patient today? So then we'll address the pain. Definitely the pain is important, but we need to find out, is there infection somewhere? Why is there a fever? Why is the temperature elevated? And then we'll get to the pain. Once we address the pain, But that's really important. So NCLEX questions are almost better than NCLEX practice questions are almost better than reading the textbook for me personally. But once again, that's just the type of learner that I am. You have to find out what works for you. Read those rationales. I say it all the time. Rationales are the most important thing that you will ever encounter in nursing school. You have to use your resources and you have to take advantage of every section of those resources, because if you don't use it today, guarantee you will use it tomorrow. There will never be a time where you won't use those resources. They're very important. Teachers even pull questions from there. I've seen it before. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video. I know this video probably ran a little long. Hopefully I won't have to be cutting too much or anything, but I'll go ahead and get this video edited. I'll get it up and I will shoot another video later on. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and join the crew, man. I will holler at y'all later. Thanks for watching. Peace.